For 38 years, Struckham Commercial Pest Services has provided trained certified technicians while using environmentally safe, industry-standard products. Pests can devastate your business. Together, we will ensure adequate sanitation standards and safe pest exclusion methods. Uncontrolled pest problems lead to significant financial loss due to food contamination, business disruption, and stock waste. Struckham provides detailed solutions protecting your business and reputation. Struckham, #1 in pest control services.
Hurricane Dorian lost, like we probably saw a $3 billion loss. Imagine if 90% of those persons had insured their homes, their businesses, took on that concept. Then the government won't have the responsibility of trying to build back Abaco in Freeport, because then you would have had money coming from a foreign entity, the reinsurers from a different entity, bringing money back into our country. So if anybody understands the economy of scales, is when you can take a dollar and exchange it and bring it in, so you have a new flow, then you have more jobs, then our ability to recover would have been much greater.
This episode is brought to you by Struckham Commercial Pest Services and Alma's Loft, a 5-star Airbnb.
Right. So how do you see your role or your profession evolving now post-crisis? And we hope that COVID-19 goes away sooner than later. But post-COVID, what are the imminent changes in your profession?
Becoming more innovative. Example, since the pandemic started, we've moved to Zoom. We no longer meet physically. So the Zoom meetings, continuing with that, and also WhatsApp chats, just to ensure the continuity of your regular meetings, checking in on your members. And if we have any future plans of projects, that would assist us.
Attorneys are going to be more they're gonna have to rely less on administrative support, be able to deliver the product themselves using technology as much as possible, and the amount of support staff that used to be available may not be the case anymore, and you may find that firms will be looking to use less office space and to see if the model by which people are working remotely, whether that's something that's sustainable over a longer period of time.
Post-COVID, it's going to be more expensive to run, and more expensive because of the fact that, due to the fact that we've made a public announcement, even in our company, where we had to close our shop for COVID because one or two of our staffers had been had picked up the COVID-19. And with that, we had to close the entire store, clean out the entire store, and that sort of thing. And so with that, I think that's going to be a costly thing to try to keep up with, because this is not going to go away by any immediacy.
How do you get customers to buy anything from you and they are stressed and they are just living from day to day and they are depressed and they don't know where to turn, and so they're not focused on what you want them to focus on, which is preparing for the future. Same thing with the colleagues that you lead. They are no different from the customers. They have challenges. They have lost most of their support system. Every day now is different. There's no daily routine. How do you keep them motivated? That is a tremendous challenge.
Let's take in COVID. Now we have a certain percentage of people who have health insurance. So say 20% of those persons who have health insurance, let's say 200. Let's say 100, because 100 million. No, let's say 1,000. Let's say 1,000 persons who have health insurance. their own health insurance, was exposed to COVID and their bill was $1 million, then the insurance would have had $1 billion to pay and not the government.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Again, reinsurance coming in and not to the kitty of the country. So, you have to understand how the economies work, the elasticity of the dollars, the exchange of the dollar.
During COVID, it was more of a psychological challenge with the people. So it was more, they understand that God is a provider. They understand that God is with them, but just being able to walk them through that process from a human perspective. The spirit and the human being, or the spirit and the body, work together. But that whole, I see our role as religious leaders, I see it's doing more study in psychology, more study in human behavior, to understand that when a crisis happens, what actually goes on in the mind of an individual.
So in terms of, remote working environments, how are we going to manage those? How are we going to ensure that individuals still feel connected to the organization? Not the brick and mortar per se, but if I'm working from home, how am I going to understand how the company functions and feels and the culture is still applicable to me from a remote standpoint? I think that's one. And then I also think when we look at how employees are going to manage when they do return to work, their well-being, their health and how are they going to psychologically come back to an environment that they've been out for some time or working remotely? So I do see the profession evolving. I think we're going to have to be driven by data. We're going to have to understand the analytics. We're going to have to understand how remote work is going to affect us. And also we're going to have to be the consultants to the organization on how to move forward. Our role has shifted, in my opinion, and the profession has now entered into this consultancy role. HR is at the table.
Manpower issues, because certainly that's one that we definitely need to fill that gap, just not for the crisis. We need more public health complements, certainly. We need more physicians in general. We've been doing our best with what we have, but it obviously isn't what should be gold standard. So if we evolve to, career planning in the future, I think that will help us when we go through these experiences.
So post-COVID-19, like I said, the industry globally changed to a lot of pest control companies offering sanitization services and spanning out to, let me give you an example. If I come to the hotel, Denise's hotel, you might feel a little unwary with a technician entering your premises because you're not sure if he has contracted COVID-19. So we had to rethink our application requirements to actually try and targeting insects and pests from the exterior.
I don't think there will ever be a real post-COVID, because I think we will always be more cautious now about interacting with each other, right? It means something totally different to me today. And so how we did a gig 2 nights ago, Sunday night. 2 nights ago. And it was a challenge, because your fans are used to coming and hugging you, and they're used to that contact, and so you don't want them to feel as though you don't appreciate them, right?
We're in the Bahamas, for crying out loud,
Everyone, we hug and kiss.
We're contact people.
Yeah, that's what we do. We hug and
we're
kiss.
Contact people, and all our fans are they're great people who just really want to have that. The one-on-one contact interaction. It just comes natural.
It's like moving from a regular standard shift car to a 16-wheeler. To me, that's how drastic this change is to me. And I feel like I don't have much time, because when William was a baby, I feel like, okay, yeah, I have this time to train him and to mold him. Now he's a young man, so he's already set in his ways, so it's gonna take me a lot of time to go back to retrain him. He may surprise me, as well as
he may not, but it was not easy getting him to the point where he is now.
After assisting where possible in the aftermath of a hurricane or a disaster, the Member of Parliament must continue to be the voice and the advocate of the people, ensuring that government expedite policies to bring some semblance of normalcy to people's lives, particularly in the area of housing. Parliamentarians must be relentless in pursuit of this goal, and the provision of well-paying jobs, critical health care, and housing for the masses is still very elusive, and this often leads to crime and other social challenges.
Even as a country, for us to have stronger databases that will allow us to certainly share the things that we're working on, because I think we saw a lot that we may have had duplicitous efforts in a lot of instances that perhaps were not necessary. We could make better use of those things if we tap into certain databases so persons can be aware of, let's say, for example, who might have accessed certain care, levels of care in different instances. We're able to send out, technology is an awesome thing as well. We're able to share more information with people in a timely fashion with technology. Send out things to the community. This is what you need to do if you're traveling. This is the information here. I think we've seen a lot that, the public seem to have been misinformed, and in some instances, they did not get enough information. It wasn't clear.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Now You Know, please like, share, and subscribe, because now you know.